Last month, there was some blowback to comments you made about Terry Crews and his claims of being sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Well, that was just me responding to, I wasn't trying to make fun of a sexual assault victim. Terry Crews was like the Hulk.
Recently, Terry Crews has stepped into the spotlight to reveal troubling concerns against rapper and entrepreneur 50 Cent, known for his controversial online persona. While Crews has long been celebrated for his uplifting and advocacy against bullying, his recent revelations suggest that he has been a target of 50 Cent's relentless harassment. This revelation comes at a time when 50 Cent's social media antics have drawn both criticism and support, creating a divide among fans and fellow celebrities. As the drama unfolds, Crews's courage in speaking out sheds light on the darker side of celebrity interactions. What is the truth about this? Come explore with us. Terry Crews is widely recognized as one of the most muscular and physically imposing figures in the entertainment industry, a testament to his years of dedication to fitness and bodybuilding. Standing tall at 6 feet 3 inches and weighing 240 pounds of solid muscle, he epitomizes strength. Yet, despite his impressive physique, the actor and former NFL player recently found himself embroiled in a very public controversy, ignited by none other than rapper 50 Cent. In a series of social media posts, 50 Cent took aim at Crews, questioning his manhood after an incident where Crews did not fight back against an attack. This mockery raises questions about masculinity, vulnerability, and the expectations placed on men, especially those who appear physically strong. The incident that sparked 50 Cent's comments occurred during an attack where Terry reportedly froze, not responding with the aggression that many might expect from someone of his stature. Critics and fans alike were puzzled. How could a man of such physical prowess not defend himself? Was this a sign of weakness? The harsh words from 50 Cent cut deep, drawing attention to a broader societal issue, what it means to be a real man. For many, this concept is intertwined with notions of strength, resilience, and the expectation to respond to threats with force. However, the situation took a darker turn when it was revealed that Terry Crews had been dealing with immense personal turmoil. His family, including his wife and children, left him after a decade-long secret was exposed. This revelation added layers to the narrative, shedding light on why Crews may have reacted the way he did during the attack. The pressure of maintaining a public persona while grappling with private crises can be overwhelming, particularly when the stakes involve familial relationships and the stability of one's home life. Crews had to navigate the fallout from these personal revelations, and the emotional weight could have contributed to his reaction, or lack thereof, in the face of aggression. In response to 50 Cent's taunts, Terry Crews has not remained silent. He pushed back against the rapper's critique by highlighting that true manliness is not merely about physical strength or the ability to fight back. Crews pointed out that 50 Cent often finds himself alone, suggesting that real strength lies in the quality of one's relationships and the ability to be emotionally vulnerable. This perspective challenges traditional notions of masculinity that equate strength with the absence of emotion or vulnerability. Crews' rebuttal prompts a broader discussion on masculinity itself. For many, societal expectations can feel like a heavy burden, especially for men who were raised in environments that glorified aggression and dominance. One poignant reflection on this issue comes from an individual recounting their early experiences with domestic violence. The memory of a father exhibiting aggressive behavior towards a mother evokes a powerful image of manhood that many children internalize. The fear and confusion that accompany such experiences create a foundation of distorted beliefs about strength, control, and acceptable ways to express or manage emotions. Waking up to a tense environment, this child longs for peace, a desire often overshadowed by the assertive masculinity displayed by figures like their father. As a child, Terry swore he would never emulate his father. a man whose aggressive tendencies left a lasting mark on his upbringing. Yet, as he grew older and stronger, he found himself wielding his physical prowess as a means to dominate those around him. In his reflections, Crews admits, "I truly believe I was worth more than my wife and kids. Now I was ice cold. I'm the man. I run this. You better do as I say." This admission reveals a troubling aspect of his character. It highlights how his strength was not just a physical trait, but also a tool of control. His past experiences, coupled with his impressive build, led him to embody a hyper-masculine persona, one that prioritized dominance and power over emotional connection and vulnerability. Terry's life took a surprising turn in 2016 during a party with his wife. An incident that would profoundly impact him occurred when he faced inappropriate behavior from a Hollywood agent. Reflecting on the encounter, Terry recalls, "He looked me in my eyes and he was sticking his tongue out in a suggestive manner. He took his right hand and made an unwanted advance, and I thought, 'Hey, what are you doing?'" The boldness of the agent's actions and his demeanor left Crews feeling exposed and powerless. The way the man looked at him communicated a troubling message. No one's ever going to believe you. This moment of assault starkly contrasted with Terry's previous self-image as an invincible figure. The reaction to this incident from the public was swift and, in some cases, cruel. Many were baffled that a man of Crews' physical stature did not fight back. Among the loudest critics was rapper 50 Cent, who mocked Terry, suggesting that a man with such immense strength should have responded with aggression. "Terry Crews is like the Hulk. This guy's huge. I just couldn't get how he froze like he was afraid. God gave you muscles so you can say no. Ain't nobody just gonna grab my nuts without getting punched." This statement reflects a broader societal misunderstanding of male vulnerability, where strength and aggression are often seen as synonymous with masculinity. What 50 Cent and others failed to grasp is that trauma affects individuals in complex and varied ways. For many survivors of sexual assault, the instinct to fight back can be overshadowed by a freezing response, a common reaction when faced with unexpected violence or threat. This phenomenon is not about a lack of strength or courage. Instead, it highlights the overwhelming shock and fear that can paralyze even the most physically capable individuals. The question of why Terry Crews didn't fight back during his assault is steeped in a complex web of personal history, emotional turmoil, and the consequences of his actions leading up to that fateful night. The backdrop of his life reveals a man grappling with guilt, identity, and the burdens of his past, which shaped not only his physical responses, but also his emotional resilience in moments of crisis. 6 years before the assault, Terry's family life unraveled in a way that he never anticipated. His wife, Rebecca, had long harbored suspicions about his fidelity. As they navigated their marriage, she began to probe deeper into the secrets that Terry had kept hidden for a decade. The moment of reckoning came when she confronted him with a barrage of questions, leading to a series of confessions that would alter the course of their lives. 10 years ago, I did this. 13 years ago, I did this, he recounted, revealing a pattern of infidelity that culminated in a visit to a massage parlor where he cheated on her. The impact of his confessions was immediate and devastating. "When I told my wife, I heard this gasp and she said, 'I'm done. I don't know who you are.'" In that moment, Terry felt the weight of his actions crashing down on him. His immediate reaction was defensive. "I was like, 'Fine, leave,' and she left." The pain of his choices left him alone in a hotel room, grappling with the reality of his decisions and the emptiness they created. In those moments of solitude, Terry began to confront the consequences of a life lived behind a facade. For years, he had believed that his success, his wealth, fame, and popularity was enough to justify his actions. He felt that as the primary provider for his family, he was entitled to a certain level of freedom. "You never run out of people to blame," he reflected, as he recognized the patterns of rationalization he had engaged in. The inner dialogue he experienced was one of conflict. He thought, what does she have to complain about? You know it's a good life. Yet, deep down, a small voice began to whisper the truth to him. Maybe it's me. This self-reflection marked a turning point in Terry's understanding of himself and his relationships. He realized that he had not presented the real Terry Crews to his wife. Instead, he had constructed an image, a picture of who he thought he should be, a successful, strong man. However, this image was just a facade, masking the insecurities and flaws he had kept hidden. What I presented to my wife was an image. I was lying the whole time, he acknowledged. The realization that Rebecca was married to a projection rather than the real him was a bitter pill to swallow. It illuminated the disconnect between his outward success and his internal struggles. This internal conflict between the image he projected and the truth of his actions created a deep emotional void. When faced with vulnerability as he was during the assault, it is possible that his past mistakes and guilt over his treatment of Rebecca contributed to his reaction. The shame and fear of confronting his own inadequacies could have played a significant role in his inability to respond to the assault. After his marriage to Rebecca nearly fell apart due to his infidelities and hidden secrets, Terry recognized that a fundamental change was necessary in his life. I did not go to rehab to get my wife back. I went there because I needed to be a better person. This statement encapsulates his resolve to not only confront his past, but also to forge a new path for himself. It was not simply about reconciliation, it was about genuine self-improvement. Understanding that personal change required more than just introspection, Terry took actionable steps. He committed to attending counseling, demonstrating a willingness to address the underlying issues that had contributed to his previous behavior. This decision marked a significant turning point in his life. Counseling allowed him to explore the emotional roots of his actions, as well as the cultural and societal pressures that shaped his understanding of masculinity. Through this process, Terry began to dismantle the toxic narratives that had dictated his behavior and relationships. Rebecca's decision to return to Terry was not instantaneous. It was contingent upon his dedication to becoming a better partner and a better man. I had to earn it, he reflected, acknowledging that rebuilding their marriage was a monumental task. They literally started from the ground up, working together to create a foundation of trust and understanding that had been so severely shaken. This effort required vulnerability and open communication, attributes that were not always easy for Terry to embrace given his past. The road to redemption was not without its challenges. When Terry was assaulted in 2016, he found himself at a crossroads, forced to decide how to respond in a moment of danger. Instinctively, his first reaction was to react violently, an instinct that had been conditioned in him through years of feeling the need to assert dominance. However, the man who had attended therapy and made significant changes was faced with the reality of his growth. I immediately held back, he recounted, grappling with the conflicting impulses within him. The struggle between his past self, who relied on aggression to assert his masculinity, and the man he had become, who understood the value of restraint and emotional intelligence, was palpable. This internal conflict illustrates the complexity of masculinity, especially for a man like Terry, who has experienced both the privileges and pressures that come with being a powerful figure. As a black man in America, Terry is acutely aware of the societal implications of violence and the limited chances afforded to men like him. You only have a few chances to make yourself a viable member of the community, he emphasized. Many young black men find themselves caught in cycles of violence, leading to devastating consequences, whether that be imprisonment or loss of life. Terry's reflections reveal the weight of these realities and how they informed his decision-making process. In recognizing that he did not want to be that type of man, Terry made a conscious choice to break the cycle. It was an acknowledgement that sometimes People are products of their environment. But there comes a pivotal moment when one must say, no, wait a minute. This self-realization was not just about avoiding violence. It was about redefining what it meant to be a man, particularly in a society that often equates masculinity with aggression. Terry Crews' experience culminated in a poignant moment when he spoke at the U.S. Senate, addressing the issue of sexual violence and advocating for change. As he recounted his own traumatic encounter, he confronted the often dismissive attitudes surrounding men as victims. As I shared my story, I was told over and over that this was not abuse, that this was just horseplay, he explained. This statement underscores the pervasive minimization of male victimhood, highlighting how societal norms can belittle and invalidate the experiences of those who suffer from sexual assault. Terry's powerful assertion, "One man's horseplay is another man's humiliation," challenges the common rhetoric that often trivializes such incidents. In a culture that traditionally equates masculinity with toughness and emotional invulnerability, acknowledging victimhood becomes a radical act. Crews understood that, as a father, he had a responsibility to embody the values he wished to instill in his children. What kind of man would I be to tell my kids, if someone touches you where you don't want to be touched, tell someone, and then I don't do it? This question encapsulates his internal struggle and reflects a broader dilemma faced by many men in similar situations: the fear of being perceived as weak or unmanly if they acknowledge their trauma. Terry's journey also intersected with criticisms from figures like 50 Cent, who publicly questioned his masculinity in the wake of his assault. While 50 Cent's attacks may have resonated with some who subscribe to traditional notions of masculinity, Terry's response was grounded in a deeper understanding of what it means to be a man in today's world. He pointed out that true strength lies not in physical power or aggression, but in the ability to confront one's vulnerabilities and advocate for those who may not have a voice. The irony of 50 Cent's criticisms is further underscored by his own troubled relationship with his eldest son. 50 Cent has been estranged from his eldest son for over 10 years, Terry noted. "I don't have him. I don't have a relationship with him. Everything he promised, I'm going to take him to basketball games, I'm going to take him on vacation, he hasn't done any of that." This reflection sheds light on the contradictions within 50 Cent's public persona. While he projects an image of strength and success, his inability to maintain a relationship with his son raises questions about the values he espouses. Terry's perspective on this estrangement reveals a profound understanding of what it means to truly care for and love one's family. "It's never been about the money for me, it's more so the relationship," he stated, emphasizing the importance of emotional connection over material wealth. In this way, Terry positions himself as a model of the type of man he believes in, one who prioritizes meaningful relationships and emotional honesty over the superficial markers of masculinity often celebrated in popular culture. This juxtaposition highlights a critical theme in Terry's advocacy: the need to redefine what it means to be a man in contemporary society. He has become a voice for those who feel marginalized and silenced, especially in conversations about masculinity and vulnerability. By openly sharing his story and engaging in discussions about the implications of sexual assault, Terry challenges the stigma that often surrounds male victims. Terry Crews' journey and advocacy for a redefined masculinity illuminate a profound understanding of what it means to be a real man. In a world often characterized by aggression and hypermasculinity, Terry has emerged as a voice for strength rooted in vulnerability and compassion. His reaction to 50 Cent's public criticisms exemplifies this philosophy. Instead of retaliating with anger or violence, Terry chose to respond with love, stating, "Love. 50 Cent? I listen to his music while I'm working out, by using his voice instead of violence." This powerful declaration encapsulates his belief that embracing love and understanding is far more potent than resorting to aggression. Terry's perspective shifts the traditional narrative surrounding masculinity. For many, strength is synonymous with physical powerlifting weights, fighting, or demonstrating dominance. However, Terry argues that true strength is found in the ability to support those who are vulnerable, to stand up for others, and to acknowledge one's own struggles. Strength is not about picking things up and throwing people around, he asserts. The strength comes from standing up for the weak. It's admitting you have a problem. It's admitting that you need help. This redefinition of strength challenges deeply entrenched beliefs about what it means to be a man, emphasizing that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a sign of courage. Terry's approach highlights a critical aspect of masculinity that is often overlooked: the importance of emotional intelligence and openness. Many men are taught to equate masculinity with emotional suppression, leading them to believe that vulnerability is a sign of weakness. This belief system, rooted in hypermasculinity, can be damaging, not just to men but to everyone around them. By confronting these notions, Terry promotes a healthier, more authentic version of manhood that values emotional connection and self-awareness. His journey illustrates how societal expectations can distort our understanding of masculinity. The pressure to conform to traditional notions of manliness can create a facade that men feel compelled to uphold, often at the expense of their mental health and relationships. When you're a man, you think that masculinity is the opposite of vulnerability, right? Terry reflects. This realization marks a turning point in understanding that true manhood encompasses a range of emotions and experiences, including the acknowledgement of one's vulnerabilities. For Terry, embracing vulnerability means being open to seeking help when needed. The act of admitting that one has a problem is a powerful statement against the stereotype of the stoic, unyielding man. That pride, that manliness, that hypermasculinity is not real, he asserts. Instead, he advocates for a form of manhood that celebrates emotional authenticity. True manhood is beautiful, he claims, highlighting the transformative power of embracing one's full range of emotions, including love, compassion, and empathy. Terry's advocacy extends beyond his personal journey. It resonates with men everywhere who are grappling with their identities in a world that often pressures them to adhere to outdated norms. By publicly sharing his experiences and redefining strength, he encourages men to challenge societal expectations and embrace a more holistic understanding of masculinity. What do you think about Terry Crews's response to 50 Cent? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.